Greetings, everybody.
Mary, we had a BBA cocktail party last night. We had 25 people show up.
I'm so glad. Good for
Yes,
y'all.
we are
Good for y'all.
breathing some new life.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And we have our new zone commander, Major Mitchell. We're so glad you're with us tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. And we have our former zone commander who is now going downtown as a deputy chief. So we're delighted to have him as well. Major, is it still major or is it a new title? Deputy chief.
Deputy chief now.
Okay, we got to update our Zoom, but we're glad to have both of you gentlemen with us this evening. So, and we have our Councilman Howard Shook on the call. Thank you, Mr. Shook, for being here. Okay, it is 6:30 and we start on time, so we'll get rolling right now. And there's Valerie, and so we will start off with Jim doing the rules. Always the rules. Jim, you there? Okay, he was on mute. To read the open meetings rules.
He must be on the way.
I think he's having trouble with his audio.
Let's come back to that.
Okay, Valerie, we'll get that later. And so Valerie, I'll let you welcome everybody tonight.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. It's great to see everybody here again tonight, panelists and guests and all attendees for tonight's meeting. And I don't want to skip too far past where Jim is going to go. I'll just say this, everyone who's on the panel should have received minutes from the last meeting and possibly even with amendments at this point. So tonight we're going to have, and I'm so happy to see you, Miss Starling. Thank you for being here. I know you had a lot to do today.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Anyway, tonight, first of all, I want to, we've welcomed, of course, Deputy Chief Pete from the Atlanta Police Department, now Deputy Chief Sinzer from the police department, and I'd like to welcome our newly appointed zone commander, and that is Major Aileen Mitchell. So welcome. I know you're being jumped into this at the last minute, it seems, but we're very happy to have you here and we look forward to working with you. Even though this project seems like it's at an end, it's really not. It's continuing to be a strategy and a work in progress. So if you would like to start, which would be a great start, telling us a little bit about yourself, what you want us to know and how you want us to get to know you a little better.
That works. So good evening, everyone. My name is Aileen Mitchell. I'm the new Zone 2 commander. I recently was in Zone 2 4 months ago. Last year, the later half of last year, I was the captain here in Zone 2 with Deputy Chief Sinzer. This is my 4th stint in Zone 2. I was a sergeant here in 2014. In 2015, I came back in 2018 as a lieutenant, and then back as the captain last year. So this is my fourth time back. I was a resident of Zone 2 for 10 years until I got married and had my children, and I needed a little more land, so I moved out of Zone 2. But I'm familiar with the area, familiar with the people of Zone 2, and I'm delighted to be back in this role. I'm going to continue some of the things that myself and Deputy Chief Sinzer worked on last year, which led to us getting the Crime Reduction Award for the city. I have some new ideas as well that I plan on implementing. But as always, the help from the stakeholders in the community, as well as our other law enforcement partners, Fulton County Sheriffs, GSP. Yesterday, I went to a community meeting with Brookhaven, Chief Yandura, and he offered his assistance. So we'll be doing some details as well. that are on the border of Brookhaven and Atlanta and Sandy Springs in Atlanta as well. But I'm happy to be here. I will put my information in the chat. So if anyone wants to reach out to me after the meeting, we can have a discussion.
Great.
Thank you very much for that. So Jim, welcome to the meeting. We have you back now. And so I tried not to skip past your part. So if you want to jump in here and do the official parts.
Sure. So this meeting of the Buckhead Public Safety Task Force is being conducted remotely as advertised and in accordance with the requirements of OCGA 50-14-1. The public may access the meeting via the link provided on Councilmember Norwood's City Council webpage and as provided in the meeting notice published on April 17th. All meeting agendas, recordings of all meetings, and electronic copies of all presentations made to the task force will be available electronically on Councilmember Norwood's City Council webpage. Meetings minutes will be posted in the same place once they are approved as official at the next meeting of the task force.
Thank you. Do you need to call roll or do anything like that?
I'm kind of doing it as we go. I can see the folks here, but why don't we move forward with, we do have to amend the minutes from the
Yes.
previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to amend the minutes. Everybody should have gotten this in your email at some point today or yesterday, but we need to make amendments to it. So I'll make a motion for that.
I will
Second.
second Rick Hamilton.
And it's just
So I'll,
correcting the name. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
it's okay. Anyway, it's gonna be correcting the name of Chief Judge Christopher Portis. We had him down as Porter in the last minutes. And then it's also going to be correcting the title of Deputy Chief Peak. We had him in there as something else. But we've corrected that. You're back to being Deputy Chief now, Deputy Chief. And so that will be the only two things on there that I see, Jim. You have anything else you see? Okay. Well, then we'll move forward. If there
So
are
I
no,
make a motion that we approve the amended minutes. Is there a second?
well, I'll second.
Second,
Rick,
Okay, without objection, they'll stand approved as amended.
thank you, Mary. Okay, so tonight, if we are going in the order that we're going to hear first from Greg McNiff of the Atlanta Police Foundation. He's in charge of special projects and general projects over at the Atlanta Police Foundation, and we're happy to have him here tonight. And then we're going to hear from Councilmember Mary Norwood regarding the security patrol, proposed security patrol for her district, for District 8 and surrounding areas. And then we will hear from Denise Starling from Livable Buckhead. Thank you for being here tonight again. And then she will be followed by Lindsay Jones or Miss Suggs for the update and for the update on security at Lenox Square Mall. So we'll start with Mr. McNiff. Sorry, I got distracted there. Is Greg McNiff on here?
Yes.
Excellent. We'll hear from him now.
Thank you, Valerie, and thank you, Councilwoman Norwood, for inviting the Atlanta Police Foundation to be a participant in this. It's been a good opportunity for me, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity now to speak a little bit about what the APF is doing in trying to combat crime. I know many of you have worked with APF in the past, and I've got, if we could advance to the next slide. Jim, I don't know if you're driving this.
Damon, if you could advance it. Thank you, Damon.
Okay, and so again, I know many of you work with the Police Foundation and know what it is and what it does. I just wanted to touch on this real briefly for those who may not. We are a non-government organization. We're a nonprofit 501(c)(3) with the mission simply to improve public safety in Atlanta. And the programs that we implement and manage are ultimately just complementary programs to APD primarily. all for the goal of stemming crime and interdicting crime in different ways. So we have programs designed for youth engagement. What I'm going to focus on tonight is the Camera and Radio Network. That is one of our programs ultimately. We have neighborhood improvement programs, officer development and training programs, and research and resource provisioning programs. So all of these, again, just simply geared at aiding the Atlanta Police Department primarily, and all of their law enforcement partners, to include the Fulton County Sheriffs and everybody else that works within the city of Atlanta and Fulton County at impacting crime. Okay. You can advance the slide. Okay, so I know the name Operation Shield has been around a long time within the law enforcement circles in Atlanta. That's, again, what we're going to speak of tonight. Operation Shield is ultimately the programmatic name for the Camera and Radio Network, okay? It is a partnership between the Atlanta Police Foundation and the City of Atlanta. The City of Atlanta Police Department ultimately is the operational engine that makes this thing work and manages it on a day-to-day basis. And the Atlanta Police Foundation works behind the scenes primarily in terms of growing the program, raising funds to expand the program, and in many ways maintaining the program. I'll touch on kind of the nuance between what both agencies do for the camera network and the radio network. And I want to introduce, which has been touched on a little bit in these previous presentations, especially by Sheriff Labatt, is what we're going to dub Connect Atlanta. And I'll kind of get into the nuance of what that is now. But that's a relatively new but very important wrinkle in the Operation Shield network that I really want to advertise. And ultimately, the reason I'm speaking of both of these tonight, both the radio and camera network, is there's an underutilization, especially in Buckhead, of these tools. And I think if the audience on this call and those that they work with were to really become advocates for this and help market it, it would make a dramatic impact on public safety, especially in Buckhead, but not just within Buckhead, also throughout the city. Okay, we can advance the slide. Terrific. And this is simply the splash page of operationshield.info. All of the programs that the Atlanta Police Foundation has can ultimately, the information pertaining to those can be gotten to through the AtlantaPoliceFoundation.org site. However, we have independent web pages for all of the programs. So this, again, is a splash page for operationshield.info. We've kind of broken out these separate sites to make them more marketable and digestible for those who are just simply interested in one program or another. Again, it's just a summary of what Operation Shield is. And again, that's just the programmatic name, the Camera and Radio Network. When I say camera network, I'm speaking both of just traditional pan, tilt, zoom cameras, the movable cameras. That is also inclusive of what I'll speak about a little bit later in terms of quad cameras. And again, it is also the radio network. So it's the radio and communications program that is encompassing of the cameras, the license plate reader network, and the radios themselves. Okay, if we can go on to the next page. Okay, so the radio network has been around also many years within Atlanta, and it is called ComNet, and it's a unique tool that is available to the private security community that most other jurisdictions don't have. I mean, it is very unique for the police department to put direct communication in the hands of private sector personnel for the sake of public safety, okay? But it is significantly underutilized. Within the city right now, we've got about 110 subscribers to ComNet, okay? And basically, ComNet is nothing more than the same radio that you would see a police officer have on his or her hip. We are taking those radios, selling them to private sector personnel, and saying, you can use this to contact the 911 center. Within Buckhead, of the 110 subscribers in the city of Atlanta, I would say there are 3 businesses within Buckhead using this. There is 1 condominium in Buckhead and 2 businesses using this. The same goes for Midtown. There's about 3 businesses and again, one condominium tower that is subscribing to this. And then you've got about 100 some odd that are in downtown participating in this and using it regularly. And that's your hotels, that's your condominiums, that's other just corporate security entities that are all using this. And for many reasons, the word and utilization just simply has not drifted north through Midtown or Buckhead to become participants in this. Okay, and I'll speak at the end of this as we kind of wrap it up to the importance of how the radio network is just now a tremendously great and complementary tool to the camera network now that we've got this new wrinkle of Connect Atlanta. It really ties together, Connect Atlanta ties together the ComNet, the radio network, and the camera to make the two of them just very synergistic, and ultimately can just make a significant impact on public safety. I think primarily in Buckhead, given the fact that it is so underutilized right now. Okay, if we could advance to the next slide. And what ComNet does, it allows for both horizontal and vertical communication among users. So vertical meaning that it is a user with that radio in hand that can commute vertically or right up to the dispatch center. So the same dispatch center that the police officers are calling routinely is the same tool, same mechanism. However, it is a different channel. So that security officer is not simply using the zone 2 channel if he or she is using that radio zone 2. It's a dedicated channel for private security. And it allows for, again, that vertical communication directly between the user and the 911 center, but it also allows for horizontal communication among users. So if you can envision a crime occurring at the W in Buckhead and them wanting to notify the Ritz-Carlton, or them wanting to notify Lenox Mall because they see the suspect running in that direction, they can speak vertically to that other user and right on the website, the ComNet website, which is ComNetATL.info. And again, I'll have all these websites at the end of the deck here. But there is a list of current users. So businesses could very easily know who around them are also participants in the ComNet network, and obviously establish those regular communications so that if need be, if there's a crime in progress or something like that, they're not only notifying their neighbor, but they're also notifying 911 at the same time, saving a tremendous amount of time in trying to, 5 different people call 911 and trying to record all this information and then synergize it to make it actionable. So it's a great tool. It's flexible, and again, it is significantly underutilized. It comes at a low cost as well. So the subscribership to ComNet is, again, managed through the Police Foundation, is $20 a month. So a business can pay $20 a month, have that. We typically bill it on an annual basis for $240 a year. And then each additional radio, if a business wants 2, 3, 4, we reduce the cost of that second, third, whatever by 50%. So it ultimately, we're trying to encourage multiple officers within these security teams to have the ability to have that channel on their radio. So it comes at a low cost, and the compatibility is very high for meaning that if the W's security team has a Motorola radio, in all likelihood that Motorola radio is already compatible with ComNet, and we can just simply put program the channel on their radio, saving them the cost of purchasing a new device to be compatible. So it's highly compatible with all the major brands of radios that are out there, and the programming of that is at no cost. The APD 911 center programs that, and typically we return these radios to whoever the new subscriber is within 24 hours, and we hand deliver those devices to them, instruct them how to use it, although there is a training page on the ComNetATL.info website. Next slide, please. So that's one arm of what Operation Shield is. The other arm of it is simply the camera network. And again, that is cameras in the traditional sense that you can see through them. And then there's the license plate readers that are ultimately as well, that also are cameras. Those are all integrated into the same platform. They are all fed back, sitting right next to the ComNet dispatchers and the other dispatchers at the E911 center in downtown. And these cameras are fed back to the video and integration center. There's literally just a pane of glass between the E911 dispatchers and the video integration center. So there's an opportunity for those two teams to work together should the need be, and leverage all of this technology under one roof. Okay. What you'll hear me mention tonight, and what you've heard Sheriff Lott speak of in the past, is Fusus. Fusus is a company that is also providing a technology software that we just purchased. We meaning the Atlanta Police Foundation and Atlanta Police Department, and this is what has been implemented as Connect Atlanta. We are rebranding it internally for marketing purposes as Connect Atlanta, but it is simply both the company name that is providing it and the technology software itself is called Fusus. And I just simply say that because you're going to hear it referred to in different circles as different things. You may just hear it as Operation Shield, and they'll speak of it as if it is Connect Atlanta or Fusus, or you'll hear what is referred to as Real-Time Crime Center, which is again just another name for ultimately this piece of software that we again are rebranding as Connect Atlanta. So I'd encourage all of you who speak of this and try and do marketing of it on behalf of us in the police department, to refer to it as Connect Atlanta. And ultimately, we're going to be hoping to direct interested parties back to connectatlanta.org, where they can get all the information and subscribe to the product itself. Okay, if we can advance, next slide. So there's been multiple iterations of what Operation Shield is for a period of time. There was an element of this Connect Atlanta that was an older technology that broke, quite honestly, many years ago, and there was no suitable replacement for it until now, just because of the evolution of technology. So then it was simply what you see in many street poles out there now across Atlanta is the traditional street camera. The license plate readers really look no different than those. They're a little smaller, but they're housed in a very similar device, just like that, with the blue light. And now we've added the software layer on top of it, this piece of middleware that brings so much more under one pane of glass for those that are monitoring it. Okay. It allows for the inclusion of residential cameras. It allows for the inclusion of all the disparate software or camera technologies that are out there that lie in our business community. And so if it's a gas station camera with a very low end, say, internet-based camera system, we can ingest that into this new Connect Atlanta. If it is your traditional residential style system, we can ingest that into Connect Atlanta. If it is a very fancy system that a Coca-Cola may have, per se, we can ingest that into the same system. And the ingestion of these things, again, puts it all under one pane of glass, so that those in the video integration center who are having to monitor these camera feeds, these license plate readers, and all of the other technologies that are feeding into this can all see it in one view. Another technology that is feeding into this is the shot spotter. That is the gunshot detection device that we've got out there in Atlanta right now. So again, that is just another layer that you see on the screen when you're looking at Connect Atlanta. You can see here on the right the various elements that are kind of being brought in. That is a floor plan of Lenox Mall. That is another thing that can be brought into this. What Connect Atlanta is for the user, it is simply a map-based software. So on your screen, you will be looking at something that looks not too dissimilar than Google Maps. On that map, there will be various icons and various layers that you can kind of click and layer onto that map. That bring in all of these extra tools. So the cameras will show up as an icon of a camera. You click on that camera, you click on a pin of an address, it'll pull up that floor plan if the subscriber chose to send that into the system. So I'll speak a little bit more about the flexibility here in a minute of what a user can push into the system, but that's how it looks. That's how the police officers are seeing it, and each of these police officers in Atlanta have this capability on their in their patrol cars. And again, the 24/7 monitored video integration system is also looking at this. Should they pull it up, they're going to see this map. They're going to see the various icons. They're going to have that interactive element of clicking on those icons and either seeing that camera feed, or seeing that floor plan, or seeing the shot spotter technology, all kind of reacting in this environment. And I'll just reference here, I know there's a few people who put things in the chat. I'll circle back to those at the end once I kind of get through the presentation, if you don't mind. So again, this is all in real time. In addition to that, on this map, you're going to see actual patrol cars moving around. So if you get a shot spotter hit, if you get a crime being reported, you're going to see the little patrol cars in real time because of the GPS that is going through their vehicular laptop is showing you the proximity for actual field assets that can respond to this. It'll show you which officers have been dispatched to that event that is now being shown on the grid. So it's a tremendously user-friendly tool for everybody that is just seeing in real time and seeing what's going on throughout the city and what are the best strategic assets to use, to include cameras, license plate readers, and things of that nature to impact what those officers are ultimately responding to. We can go on to the next slide. And then for the biggest element to this, obviously, what I just spoke of is great tools for the police department. They've got huge visibility, huge user-friendly technology right at their hands. It is a technology that is now literally out in the field in every single Atlanta patrol car, which has never been available before. So the technology is great on the police side. And the nice thing that's out here though through this Connect Atlanta is there's value for the citizen who wants to participate in this. There are two ways to participate. There's registry and integration. Registry simply means that you as a business or a resident is going into the system, again, on connectatlanta.org, and simply saying, you can drop a pin on my home or business on your map, and I will have my contact information, and I'm telling you that I've got a camera there. So that's what registration is. It is at no cost, but it is a huge opportunity for the Atlanta Police Department to quickly investigate things. If they've got a crime at 123 Main Street, they can simply look on the map at 123 Main Street and say, oh, great, there's a front camera on that house right there. There's the person's information. Let me reach out to that person immediately and see if they've got any footage to help us investigate this crime. So it saves a tremendous amount of investigator time, and it allows for patrol officers. Again, these are tools that are right in their hands. It allows for the patrol officers to complete better and more robust investigations in the field, even on low-level crimes. So they can just simply say, oh, there's a house 2 doors down, 2 blocks down the street that may have caught footage of this car driving past. Let me go knock on that person's door. So there's a great tool there, and obviously added value for that person that registers, which again comes at no cost. The integration element is that user, that resident or that business simply saying, I want to feed some of my cameras into this system. That user gets to choose which cameras. That user gets to choose what level of integration they want. Do they want the police department only to access that camera feed in an emergency situation? Do they want to allow them to have 24/7 access? They get to choose the level of sharing, okay, ultimately. And that, again, comes at a cost. And we'll skip to the next slide here, if you don't mind, to speak about what those costs are. Actually, maybe 2 slides away, but this is great to stop right here. Again, go back one. Yeah, this is the map that I was speaking of. Okay, so this is what again the patrol officers are looking at. This is what the Video Integration Center is looking at. This is a layer layered minimally. So those green icons that you'll see on the various streets, those are simply cameras. And if they were to drop on another layer of the patrol cars or drop on another layer of the license plate readers, you'd see different icons. So they can make the screen as busy or simplistic as they choose to. But what the user did before the screenshot was taken was click on that green icon. You can see the camera images across the top, and there's that white line going back to that camera icon, that green camera icon. That the user clicked on that green green icon, and it immediately brought up the feed that camera is providing. Okay, and that camera right there is a quad camera. So that is a street police camera. A quad camera, you'd think it has 4 views. It's actually 5. So if you envision a device that can look north, south, east, and west with fixed lenses, and on the bottom of that device is a 5th lens that is rotatable that you can kind of manipulate and move in any direction. So a quad camera is actually 5 views. So in this instance, that is a quad camera, a street camera. But again, this is what ultimately any user of the system is looking at in real time. Okay, if we can go to the next slide. And again, this was the prices. So for those that wants to go that one step further and integrate their cameras, whether it be residential or business, these are the costs that are associated with that. Okay, it starts at relatively small. There's an annual subscription cost that includes the device and the installation, and that the ongoing annual subscriptions is simply is the maintenance and elements of maintaining that, and your licensing fees with Fusus and so forth. One other piece that I want to speak of that's really is a value here. Those that integrate their cameras, if you can envision a residential camera or a business camera, there's typically not artificial intelligence in those systems. Meaning if you wanted to look through all of the footage you've captured today, but you only wanted to see the white person with the white shirt, you would have to literally look through perhaps hours of footage to find that one individual. APD has a much more robust back end of this that has the built-in artificial intelligence. So if you're sending your camera feeds into this system, APD is now able to enhance that by adding on what they're already subscribing for, the artificial intelligence. So for them to look for that same white person with the white shirt, they can simply type in human, white shirt, white person, and instantly they're going to pull up still images that match that description. So again, an investigative opportunity for any ongoing investigation is going to just minimize the time that APD, whether it be the video integration personnel or the on-site patrol officers having to do an investigation, for investigators for a much more serious crime, it significantly decreases the amount of time that they have to spend looking through hours and hours and hours of footage among thousands of cameras. So there is a significant benefit to projecting your cameras into the system for the good of public safety. And it's not something that's necessarily going to be made available to you on your side of the camera lens, but in the Video Integration Center, you've simply provided additional camera feeds with the additional opportunity to really synthesize what those cameras are catching in a very good manner. We can go on to the next slide. And so this is really what I asked this audience to help with, because I hopefully we've seen that there's a significant value to this tools for public safety, both the radio network and the camera network. But again, adoption has been significantly low. If you were to go to connectatlanta.org, which again is the site where someone could sign up and register their camera or integrate their camera, right on the splash page, there's a counter of those that have registered cameras in the city of Atlanta and those that have integrated their cameras. And there's 2,100 registries so far across the city, and there's just shy of 5,000 integrations across the city. So if you imagine how many residential cameras are out there, how many business cameras are out there just between Buckhead and downtown, it's not the amount of adoption that we would like to see. Okay, and there's reasons for that, which I'll speak to right now. But I think there's just simply a marketing element that if we all combine forces, there's an opportunity for us to drive those up and really drive down crime and impacts public safety. So historically, I think why there's low adoption of ComNet in Buckhead and Midtown is I don't think we've done a very good job of marketing it and socializing it. It started primarily with use of the ambassador force and those that they touch down in downtown. And I think those folks have done a great job in marketing, and that's why you see more than 100 users in downtown. But that lack of touch in Buckhead and Midtown has simply made it something that is not used. The ComNet right now is being monitored by a dispatcher who is shared with the detective radio. So with 110 users on ComNet, there's not a tremendous amount of daily traffic. There's not a tremendous amount of daily traffic among the detectives on APD. So right now that dispatcher is listening to the detectives and dispatching what they need, and also dealing with the ComNet folks. APD has long said that they would dedicate a full-time ComNet dispatcher, removing the detective tasks from that person once usership is there. So again, it's kind of a chicken and an egg thing, but I'd love to say, let's dedicate the dispatcher and that'll bring users. However, the approach is being looked at differently. Let's get the users there, then we'll dedicate the dispatcher once we've demonstrated that there's a value for that. Okay, so in some ways, because of there's not a dedicated dispatcher, there's a perceived lack of value. And I think we can simply do better by just growing usership of that. In terms of areas for improvement, I think staffing is obviously, I just spoke to that. Customer service, we've had complaints from some ComNet users that have said, dispatchers are used to hearing from police officers. Sometimes security personnel don't speak or react appropriately. I shouldn't say appropriately, but in the same manner as police officers, and that could frustrate a dispatcher. And there's been some sort of terse words between users, perhaps at times, and dispatchers. So I think we can do better in terms of customer service within the E911 center, and helping them to understand that they may not have the level of training on the security side, but it doesn't mean that we can provide less customer service than we would provide a typical police officer. And product offering. Here's what I think is the biggest thing that ultimately we can do. I've been speaking with Deputy Chief O'Connor on this. And I think in terms of a product offering, when you think about what I just said, that Connect Atlanta offers the police department and public safety, they get lots of extra cameras that are being paid for, integrated by the private sector. The private sector gets a benefit by simply enhancing the police department's ability to solve crimes. But I often hear, especially when I attend downtown, midtown security meetings, I often hear, well, you're asking my business to project cameras into the system at a cost. What do I get for it? And again, I speak to the value that it's doing for the public safety, but they say, well, okay, but again, what do I get for it? And we've been speaking with Deputy Chief O'Connor, and I think the next iteration of what we can offer here is that we can curate a dashboard for we're thinking about 50 cameras for Buckhead, 50 cameras for Midtown, 50 cameras for downtown. So if your business is located in downtown, you will have access to the viewership of 50 curated public right-of-way cameras that you can now leverage as part of your participation in the program. So you're paying your $300 or $400 to subscribe to the program. Obviously, your cameras are being put in the system. In return, you get to now see 50 public right-of-way cameras in downtown. So if your business is at the corner of Ellis and Peachtree, and you've obviously only had your 4 cameras historically, now you've got all the cameras perhaps around your business. So if you've got a crime that just occurred, your security team can follow that person down the street, reporting on that person, hopefully through your ComNet radio, alerting all of your neighbors who are also on the ComNet network, who then can also keep an eye out for this guy, buying ourselves a tremendous amount of time until APD can respond, and really enhancing the communication between all the businesses and hopefully catching more people. Okay, if you would think about doing that and providing 50 curated cameras on a dashboard in Buckhead, Midtown, and downtown, you will force multiply those that are in live time watching these cameras by dozens every shift. Okay, all of these security guards that are often sitting in towers, whether they be condominium towers or business towers or whatever it might be, and just simply looking at 5 or 6 cameras because it's just what their property has. Now they can be watching in real time 50 cameras around downtown, around Midtown, and around Buckhead, and reporting on whatever they might see that seems out of place via their ComNet radio. And again, alerting all of the other businesses that might be also subscribing to ComNet, and again, obviously alerting APD to these additional crimes. So this is, I think, an opportunity that we don't have now with the Video Integration Center due to the staffing resources that are in there. There are thousands of cameras, just shy of 5,000, are being available to these folks and officers and civilians that are in there, but they obviously cannot in real time watch all of those cameras. So I think there's an opportunity here for us to take this next step and offer this curated dashboard to be seen in real time and really force multiply what APD can do, and having these security professionals reporting on what they might see through the ComNet network. And again, just finally, just go ahead.
No, I thought that we're coming to the end of yours, and it dovetails into what I wanted to connect with on the idea of supplemental police patrols, which I've talked with Dave Wilkinson about. I've talked with Major Sensor and Major Mitchell about. Deputy Chief Sensor. And so coming out of the Buckhead CID security plan that was done 2 years ago, we know that the supplemental police patrols that are in the CID areas at Lindbergh, the bike patrols, the other areas of the CID, the issue is that the CID can only spend dollars in the CID area. There is no CID area in District 8 except for a very small portion with the new West Village precinct. So right at the edge, we have CID resources, but we don't in most of District 8. So as we looked at where are the holes, we've got commercial corridors throughout District 8 that do not have a coordinated presence of off-duty. You'll have a shopping center that will have an off-duty police officer or security person for a while, but it's not coordinated. So what I have proposed, and our chair knows, and we are going to put this together for this group to review, is the idea, and what Dave Wilkinson said is, Mary, if you put together an expanded Buckhead security patrol and have everyone in Buckhead be part of this bigger network, then everyone would get the Comcast, the ComNet, the Connect Atlanta, and package it all together with each having 4 levels of membership: corporate membership, retail membership, neighborhood membership, and institutional membership. So nonprofit, the churches and the medical facilities, the educational institutions. And so the goal is to get information from the Fulton County Assessor's Office on how many establishments there are, how many retail establishments, how many big apartment buildings, big commercial structures, and get all that data, and then come up with as you said, which I love, that it will be low cost. Let's figure out how we have a lot of different organizations and establishments that can participate, and it is sold in a package that is the Buckhead security plan with supplemental police patrols, access to ComNet, access to Connect Atlanta, and use our resources both through the Council of Neighborhoods, the Buckhead Business Association, the membership organizations that we have to be able to spread that word. So I love what you've shown us today, and I think it works extraordinarily well for us to design that kind of program and then come back to this group for your reactions and feedback.
Terrific. Thank you. And I'm done. So I don't know if you want to hold questions to the end. I can answer them in the chat, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, I think because I'm a stickler for time, it is now actually time for Denise Starling to be next. And so let's do questions at the end or in the chat, Greg. But thank you very much. That was very informative. And I think there's a great publicity, public relations opportunity for us to take this group, this task force, and implement real strong Buckhead-wide organizational plan that will be of real value to the residents and businesses in Buckhead. So thank you. Denise, you're up next.
All right, great. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be part of the agenda today. I think it goes well tagging on with following Greg up as well. So just to let you know, I'm Denise Starling with Livable Buckhead, and Livable Buckhead is a 501c3 organization that our entire mission is about basically improving the quality of life in Buckhead with an underpinning of sort of economic development and sustainability underneath it all. So we do play a role in a little bit of the public safety side of things, and we're a partner on that development of the plan. So I'm going to just hit the highlights of the few things that we do as it relates to the overall public safety context. So the first one I want to really talk about is the Clean Car campaign. So as y'all all know, vehicle larceny is one of the largest, the largest part of sort of the crime that we have in Buckhead. And so we have a Clean Car campaign that we have worked with our commercial office properties as well as the multifamily residential properties to deploy out in the community. It's been interesting because with COVID in place, obviously it's not happening as much in our commercial properties right now. So it's been a little more focused on the residential side, but we do see that coming back over into the office side as people return to work. So we have, with funding provided by the CID, we've developed a suite of materials from posters to Captivate screens to signs that are in the parking decks that are movable. That we do provide free of charge to all of our property owners in the CID area. So we are looking right now at sort of ways we can change that up a little bit and make it a little more engaging. People tend to just sort of ignore the messages that are sort of just, more, I guess, bureaucratic in the way they're developed. It's not as much of a fun messaging. So we're looking at ways that we can be a little bit more attention getting and really get people to start taking part in not leaving stuff in their cars. I know it's frustrating for APD, the number of guns, the number of things that are stolen out of cars, and the number of cars that are stolen with their keys in them. So that's something that we're really trying to encourage, is everybody understanding that every single person has a role in helping Buckhead fight its problem. So that's one thing that we're working on. We also host a quarterly security council meeting that is the directors of security for all of the major commercial properties in the community. So we use that in a number of different ways. We actually have used that to push the camera program, the Connect Atlanta program that Greg talked about. That's something that they're very interested in. And we also really facilitate the exchange of information between the security directors and Zone 2. So it's a great opportunity, and as well as MARTA, it's a great opportunity for them to talk about any of the issues that they're seeing and be able to exchange that information. So we do host that quarterly. It has very good attendance with it, and the property owners love the ability to interface directly with Zone 2. We also have them all connected with a just-in-time or WhatsApp app connection. And we also have a security alert texting capability that we can do as well. So great opportunity to really push information through that organization. Additionally, with funding from the Community Improvement District, we provide a housing subsidy for our police officers to live in the community here in Buckhead. That subsidy is significant. It's $650 a month for a year. We are extending that even beyond a first year. And we have 3 officers that participate in that. That's actually a great thing because they're able to sort of leverage the security or the courtesy officer program and make it an affordable place to live. But the challenge we have here is it's still the younger officers, the single officers that are really the ones that want to take advantage of that. You don't see much, with the officers that have families that are not really wanting to live in an apartment type situation. But what's nice about that program is we do require, I think it's 10 hours of service a month. And so we'll have a lot of presence on Path 400 with that. And actually, that's actually a great thing too, that I want to give a shout out to Major Senzer on. The bike patrol that serves down in Lindbergh uses Path 400 to come back up to the zone. And so that visibility, having them do that every day is fantastic. Then moving on to the camera promotion. So we absolutely love the Connect Atlanta program that APF has got going on now. So we are promoting that with all of our property managers. So we have direct connections with the property managers of all the buildings, as well as the security directors. So we have been actively pushing that participation in that program through both of those groups. And then lastly, one of the things we do that's a little more touchy-feely in partnership with Buckhead Rotary, we have been doing since the start of COVID, we've been doing just general appreciation events. So we'll do cookouts for both our APD and, for Zone 2, as well as our Atlanta Fire Rescue Foundation. So trying to, just make sure that our officers and our first responders know how important they are to the community and how much we value them. So we do take part and lead those efforts. We actually have one coming up on Friday the 13th. So that's in a nutshell, the role that LBI plays in the whole program. So thank you, Mary and Valerie, for allowing me to present to y'all today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for being here.
I do have a few questions. Once Mary talked about saving money, I ran across something called Zello, and it looks like FEMA and other government agencies use it, and it's an app on your phone, and you can contact anybody in your circle, and it's encrypted. So you would make your group, and then you would, everyone in that group, no one else can see it outside of that group, can touch it, and it acts as a walkie-talkie wherever you are. So like, for example, if I were to say comms check, and then you would hear people from all over. I'm in this little silly group, but people will. So United Kingdom just answered. And you'll have people.
Loud and clear here in Brighton, Michigan and Livingston County.
Okay, now you got Michigan answering. And so there's people from all over the world in this group. I'll turn the volume down, but there's like about 200 people in this, but nobody else can see it. And it's a very inexpensive way where if you guys, part of the APF and Livable Buckhead, found where you're running into budgeting issues, having the people you need to communicate with put an app on their phone called Zello. It's easy, and I'm sure there's government officials that can, give you the once over. But I found this, and I found it to save money. And like, it's a really great way to keep in contact. Because when I heard the APD was having trouble when dispatch, their radio messed up with APD, that could be a secondary thing. Or during the riots, we saw a lot of people following the scanner. And that's a way when like detectives or, you don't want them on the scanner just in case someone can hear it. They can all be locked into Zello and have a walkie-talkie as well. That was my first, just wanted to go there for budgeting because it's really inexpensive. But then also, what can citizens do to help you guys inform people about fentanyl overdoses? Because I know it's way up, and if we could get, the word out so that people know what to look for. I know they're putting it in recreational drugs, and that can be given off air and just an email sent, because then I can work with some people in the community about making a flyer and just kind of put it around the party areas where people are thinking they're doing one thing and fentanyl's been slipped in it, where we can just let people know. Because I know some parents are finding out their kids did something recreational, but fentanyl was in it, and then they're burying their child. So anything that we can do to help, please let us know. And that's.
Thank you, Amber. Any other questions for Denise or Greg? No? Okay, well, then we'll move further into this program. I know we have someone here from Lenox Square Mall. I see Ms. Suggs is on the program, and I know Lindsay
It'll
is
be
also.
Yep, it'll be me, Valerie.
Okay, great, Lindsay. I thank you for being here. And I just have to say in full disclosure that at least I had been over and you guys took me on the tour of, the metal detectors and entrances, egress, access, everything about Lenox that kind of tied to some of the programs I knew already. And I thank you for that. So just bring everybody else up to date. I would appreciate it.
Oh, of course. And thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate the opportunity to present. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lindsay Jones. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Lenox Square. I'm a Buckhead resident and I work in Buckhead, so very committed to our community. And we actually have a little video presentation that will basically take you on a virtual tour of all the initiatives we have at Lenox Square. Because for those of you that are not aware, we invest millions as one of the largest private security programs in the state of Georgia. So Jim, do we have the video that we can tee up? Perfect. So this will show you everything.
I'm Russ Tuttle, Chief Security Officer at Simon. Our top priority at Lenox Square is keeping our customers, employees, retailers, and communities safe. Here at Simon's Operational Intelligence Center, our highly trained specialists use purposely built algorithms designed to focus their attention on real-time risk. Our state-of-the-art facility is unique in the mall environment and is designed to identify, analyze, and act when threats arise. We're often asked about security measures in and around our property. Here are just a few ways we promote safety at Lenox Square. First, we continuously monitor activities inside and outside the property. Each day, there are 15 uniformed security professionals and 15 off-duty Atlanta police officers, specifically hired by Lenox Square to patrol the property around the clock. Our extensive camera system empowers our analysts with complete situational awareness throughout the entire mall property. Enhanced security measures, including the Upfront Plus feature, offer additional patrol deployments and camera monitoring in a gated area near the main entrance. Another element of our holistic approach to security includes our professionally trained security staff, partnered with retailers and shoppers to deliver a safe and secure visit. A key feature of our DHS Safety Act certified security program is our strong partnership with the Atlanta Police Department. A fully equipped substation, fully funded by Simon, is located inside Lenox Square. Simon has an unprecedented private-public partnership with the Atlanta Police Department. It is one of the first private companies in the city to forge such an alliance. Security presence is an important part of the program, providing peace of mind and rapid response when needed. This visible presence is only one part of a much larger approach we take to providing a safe environment. Similar to our Operational Intelligence Center, Atlanta's Operation Shield Video Integration Center is connected directly to Lenox Square, allowing the police department real-time access to our cameras and license plate readers near parking fields and entrances. This is made possible through our strong partnership with both the Atlanta Police Department and the Atlanta Police Foundation. You'll also see law enforcement and security throughout the property, utilizing elevated detection towers, UTVs, and bicycles. At Lenox Square, our code of conduct clearly prohibits firearms of any kind. Central to enforcing this policy, we deploy highly specialized canine units with specially trained firearms detection dogs. Trained specifically to detect gunmetal and ammunition, our canines provide security while also socially interactive and friendly to the public. We also utilize a state-of-the-art weapons detection system to prevent firearms from coming onto the property. These full-body scanners, using weapons detection technology, can detect threats. Our integrated security team approaches anyone alerted by the canine unit or the weapons detection system. Those who have violated the policy are banned and directed to immediately leave the property. We also ensure that the mall is not a gathering place for unsupervised youth. We know Lenox Square is one of the most popular attractions in the Southeast, but we also recognize the importance of supervising those who are underage when visiting our location to maintain a pleasant, family-friendly shopping environment. Our youth supervisory program makes it very clear. All visitors under 18 must be accompanied every day by an adult 21 or older after 3 p.m. Our security officers, trained in conflict resolution, will take swift action to address any inappropriate behavior. Lenox Square Security extends beyond Atlanta with an enhanced, award-winning Operational Intelligence Center where I am today. The OIC is a UL-certified 5-diamond monitoring award-winning center with over 120 trained specialists handling security coverage optimization, AI-driven predictive analysis, actionable intelligence, and more. Simon utilizes an industry-first predictive modeling engine that scientifically informs deployment tactics and monitoring strategies. We monitor social media and open source intelligence to analyze and respond to emerging threats. Certified by DHS as an approved Safety Act technology, our OIC provides Simon with a centralized hub from which all hazards, including organized retail crime, weather-related emergencies, and more, can be identified and triaged and managed efficiently. Additional services provided by this center includes real-time radio dispatch, intelligence gathering, analysis, distribution, and life safety alarm monitoring nationwide. Each element of this carefully developed security program is designed to keep our customers, employees, retailers, and the community safe. Safety and security cannot be achieved without a full partnership between our employees, our police colleagues, and members of the community who visit Lenox Square. Please join us as we endeavor to provide safe shopping experiences for this great Atlanta destination. We work closely with valued partners to address security at this Atlanta landmark that hosts millions of people each year. As the Chief Security Officer, I share this information and the broader security ecosystem at Lenox Square with you in hopes that you will also share our message and continue the critical conversation around safety and security in the Atlanta community.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Absolutely. I tried to make it like you were here.
Yeah, I really loved it. I really loved it. it says a lot, and and I have that, and of course I have it, I have the paper copy of it too, and it just is very comprehensive and tells you what you need to know about where Linux security is and how important it is to this community. So does anybody have any questions for Lindsay?
I put one in the chat.
Jim, can you see that?
I'll read it. Lindsay, can you speak about the gentleman who bought sneakers, then got held up on his way to his car? Evidently, there was criminal surveillance in or near the sneaker store.
So referencing the incident you're talking about, unfortunately, we have people that are just doing brazen things, as we know what we've seen. So we obviously have PD there, and people decide to make poor choices even in front of law enforcement. So we obviously have the license plate readers, and we continue to work with PD on investigations of all crimes that happen here. And I can tell you our apprehension rate here with things that happen at Linux is incredibly high. Just unfortunately, people decide to make brazen choices in front of law enforcement. I wish I had it better. Unfortunately, some people just will make bad choices without regards of caring that law enforcement is there.
Do you believe that the perps drove out of the mall?
I don't have the specifics, so I don't want to speculate what if they drove out or not. I kind of defer to PD on their investigation of things, so I don't want to speak because I don't have 100% of the facts to know everything on that case.
The reason I ask is we've long had conversations at BBA about why there are not turnstiles, but safety bars at the exits to the mall, so that when people come in, they pay a nominal fee, $1. They get it comped at a store if they're shopping, but they don't get out unless that bar goes up. And I know it's kind of a draconian situation, but I'm wondering if it's the next step that you guys have considered.
So part of what you saw in the video is what they refer to of Upfront Plus, which is actually gates that open when you come in and out of that front parking lot. So if you drive by the front of Linux, you'll see the parking lot on Peachtree. It actually is metered now. There's no cost. It's complimentary, so we're not charging people, but there is metered secured parking now at the front of Linux.
But
and it's that program we are calling Upfront Plus.
Right, but that covers 1/10 of the exits and entrances to the mall.
Correct. Yep. So this is a new program that we just launched in February. So it's just coming in and we're just launching and testing it. So it's something that we're still kind of working through the logistics of. But I would encourage you to come by and see it and let us know your thoughts, because we have a whole ambassador station that actually sits there, and it's actually monitored by security. So we actually have a security officer in that parking lot where we're actually gating, and with the gates in arms that you're talking about, and the front parking lot at Linux. So it literally just rolled out at the end of February.
Thank you.
Lindsay, I had a quick question. Is Phipps also owned by Simons?
Correct. Yes, it is.
And you keep referring to Linux. Are you not including these security procedures for Phipps as well? And are they different?
So Phipps and Linux both have the same security procedures. I just am personally in charge of Linux and not Phipps. But Phipps has weapon detection. They have K9. They have the off-duty patrols. They have all the same things. And if you go to our website, it actually has all of the numbers for Linux and Phipps and everything that I'm saying in a combined site. So if you go to phipps.com or linux.com, it'll have all the same things. So same procedures on both sides of the road.
Okay, good.
Valerie, I can go. There is another question here, and Greg, I believe this is for you. This is from Rick as well. Greg, I offered my HOA's camera feed several months back via an email or web link offered by the city. I've not heard back from anyone. Can you please follow up with me
Jim, we've already covered that. Someone.
My
responded.
apologies.
Okay.
Trying to see what other ones we have. Nancy, I think you had one. I'm trying to find it.
I did, but Greg answered, so I'm good.
Okay. That's what I get for taking attendance while asking. Sorry. So we may have answered them all.
Okay.
If I'm leaving someone's question out, please say.
Well, that goes right into what I was going to say next anyway, and that is that everybody who's been on this panel and in this work group may have other questions, may have ideas that they want to propose in relative to everything that we've heard throughout these 6 meetings. And we want those questions directed to your office, Jim, to Mary's office, so that we can make this part of the response, part of the report at the end of these sessions, which we've reached now after 90 days, and make sure that we get, every view and every question and every possibility. And hopefully people come away with this having an understanding that, if we're having greater crime does not necessarily mean that the police are not doing something or the courts are not doing something. You can see how all these things are really tied in together. And I think just because of these meetings and these conversations, a lot of this stuff, has hit the media lately. And you sort of see where some of the frazzled ends of it are, but it's been very important for me to, which is the most difficult thing for me to stay neutral and not give an opinion either one way or the other of what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling about how this should be, how it should be reported at the end. It really should be everybody who's participated, everyone who has observed should have some input in what the final outcome is of this. So, Mary, do you have anything else that you want to add to that?
No, I think the main thing is we do want to get concrete recommendations. We've heard really good presentations. They're all on my city council website. So you can review those presentations to just get refresh your memory on some of the things that were said. I think we have done a great deal of good work when I look at the reporting that has happened since we began. Everything from the gangs, everything from the judges, everything from street racing. There's been a lot of coverage, and I know for a fact that several of the reporters are on these calls every single session. I think it's very, very important that we stay focused on how do we get Buckhead safer, and anything that we think is a good idea and good recommendations. And Brink Dickerson had a great one earlier that he sent to me on the bars that we have out here and whether or not we need to get them on board. There's with a better safety plan and make sure that we've got cameras at the bars and we know where our bad actors are, and let's use our recommendations that we all turn in for May for this report to help us strengthen the measures that we ought to take to get Buckhead safer. Everyone's working too hard to not make a huge dent, and I commend Deputy Chief Sinzer for getting and Major Mitchell, who was out here, for getting the crime down and coming in first in crime reduction, a huge, huge win. But we still have a lot of work to do, and we still have residents who are being not treated respectfully when we've got crazy street racing and crazy all-night behavior and the things that are going on despite our best efforts. So I look forward to getting all that information from you. And I know that Jim Elgar, if he doesn't hear from you, will be calling. Mr. Shook, would you? as
Yeah, Mr.
our
Cook has
council
something.
person like to chime in before we go? We got 4 minutes before the bewitching moment.
Well, thank you. Real time. I know we've all been incensed with a bail decision regarding someone who was accused of putting 6 bullets in an Atlanta cop. So I don't know, Madam Chair, what your timetable is for having, arriving at conclusions and whatever, but why wouldn't we send out a statement condemning that decision tomorrow?
Well, I didn't know, I don't know for sure. Of course, it wouldn't be my place specifically to do that, without knowing everything that I need to know about it. But of course, I'm as incensed as anybody would be about it. I find this is part of what I'm saying of how these things work together. And when people look at just the police as the problem of crime, then of course I take exception to that, because guess what? We lock up a lot of people. I'm sorry to say we, because I still see myself as police, but we lock up a lot of people. And when I look at this guy's rap sheet, it tells me he never ever should have been out. He should have never even come in contact with this police officer. So that's how I feel about that. And
Okay.
so that's just part of the argument.
No, I appreciate that. So this is one of your colleagues had 6 bullets pumped into him by a lifetime gangbanger. I'm now making a motion for this body to submit a statement condemning that decision by that magistrate judge. Hopefully, I'll get a second and a positive vote.
A second. I second it.
I agree.
Well, all in favor, do you want to do the hand?
Sure.
The hand at the bottom. Raise your hand if you're in favor of this.
I'm going to raise my hand for real. Jim, can you document that for me?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to see, some don't have their screen on. If there's anyone that disagrees, could you say that might be a little easier to do that? Just trying to see if you could.
Hearing no objections, then it's unanimous.
Well, no, it's not unanimous. Let me just say.
Oh, I'm sorry, Don. Go ahead.
This is Don Gary with the DA's office. It would be inappropriate for me to be involved in that. So Jim, if you'll just say I abstain, and with all due respect to my brothers and sisters in the police department who are active, I think respectfully they need to abstain as well. That's just something that's too close to where we are. You know where our hearts are, but that's just not appropriate for us to be involved, or specifically me, I'll say for me.
Is there anyone else who would like to abstain? Please state your name just so I can be sure to get that down. Okay, so the only abstention is Mr. Gary. Just want to clarify. Okay.
All right, and Jim, let's put and Madam Chair, we'll put together a letter tomorrow and send that out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shook.
I agree. Thank you, Howard. That was wonderful.
Are there any other questions for the panel or for any of our guests? No? Well, I want to thank everybody who's participated. I'm sure over time I've either forgotten somebody or missed someone at the end of a meeting, but from the mayor to the city council members, Mr. Michael Julian Bond, who may or may not be on here tonight, has done a lot of work with all the other city council people. Miss Norwood, of course, champions every cause that she works on. And all of my police colleagues, again, you guys, y'all have to forgive me because I'm always saying we, and it really is you doing all of the work. And I appreciate it. And I try to let each and every one of you know that all the time, including all the officers that I see out there. But I am very grateful for everybody's participation and the support from Livable Buckhead, from Lennox, from the Atlanta Police Foundation, all of these groups. I know I'm gonna leave somebody out, but you know, I'm very grateful because none of this works without everybody working together. None of it works well. I'll put it that way. It works. It doesn't work well if we don't work together. So thank you.
Thank you, Valerie.
And so the final word is we will get back to you as we put the Buckhead security plan enhancements together and have this group receive copies of that and get your feedback. And that will then be also part of, assuming that everyone is okay with that, that will be part of our May recommendations.
There a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.